Hello and welcome to this series exploring the personal management of a Christian leader. My name is Bruce Hills. Great to have you with us. In this short two-part module, we're going to cover the important topic of a leader's time management. It was William Penn, an English Quaker who is best known for founding the American colony of Pennsylvania, who once wrote, "Time is what we most want, but what we use worst." There are two verses in particular that urge us to steward our time well. Ephesians 5 verses 15 and 16 say, "Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil." In similar language, Colossians 3 verse 5 encourages us to do the same thing. These verses should not be interpreted as use your time to keep busy, but to use our time, to quote Robert Banks, discerningly, wisely, not casually, and to redeem it from unprofitable activities. What do these verses mean for us as leaders? Busyness does not make us effective leaders. It is the discerning, wise, and planned use of our time that translates into effective leadership. As leaders, we have busy lives and ministries and often lament our perceived lack of time. But how can we maximize our use of time? How can we balance all our personal and public roles and responsibilities? Surprisingly, the answer is not time management per se. The term time management is actually a misconception and misnomer. We cannot lengthen or reduce how long an hour, a day, or a week is. But in his groundbreaking and benchmark book, The Time Trap, Alec Mackenzie writes that although we cannot manage time as such, we can only manage ourselves in relation to time. We cannot control how much time we have, we can only control how we use it. So, when I refer to time management, I'm actually referring to self-management. Rather than asking, am I managing my time effectively? Ask, am I managing my life effectively? Time management is not so much about our schedule, diary, or calendar, but about our goals, values, and priorities. Our time allocation is a reflection of these things. Our priorities determine how we spend our time, and how we spend our time determines how we are living our lives. Phrased differently, time management is not simply the organization of our calendar and daily schedule, but the organization of our inner life, inside out. Managing our inner life is the true key to effective management of our time. Therefore, I propose the following working definition of time management. Time management is managing ourselves within the time frame granted to us by God toward biblical priorities, values, and God-given purposes. The obvious question then becomes, how, in practical terms, do we manage ourselves and our time? Number one, surrender our time to the Lordship of Jesus Christ. All effective personal management of our life and time begins with one act, that of total surrender to Jesus Christ as Lord of our lives and therefore the Lord of our time. We must consciously surrender our all to Him, which includes the surrender of our time to Him. By the yielding of our lives to Jesus at salvation, our lives are no longer our own. They have been bought at a price and now belong to Him. We have relinquished our rights to Him. Therefore, our time is no longer our own to do with as we will. Instead, we should be seeking to live our lives as Jesus wants us to live and do what He wants us to do with our time. And as we'll see, true time management for us as Christian leaders is not how disciplined or regimented we are in using our time, but in whether our time is being used for the right purposes, eternal and kingdom purposes. In this sense, the place where time management truly begins is the place of complete surrender to Jesus and His will for our lives. Number two, budget our time. A central principle in organizing time is to steward or budget our time. Most of us have learned to budget our money by financial priorities such as tithes and offerings, food, household expenses such as mortgage, rent, board and upkeep, and utilities such as power, gas, phone and internet, and living costs such as clothes, kids' school fees and haircuts. In doing so, we determine which of our expenses are fixed and which are discretionary. Our fixed costs are the non-negotiables, what we have to pay, such as mortgage, food and utilities, whereas discretionary money, what we'd like to do, can be utilised as we see fit. And what we do with our discretionary income, however, generally determines if we get ahead financially or not. If it is invested wisely or used to decrease debt, it will eventually generate net wealth. But if we squander it, we will be living from pay packet to pay packet. This is a great parallel to our use of time. There are some things we have to do with our time and some things we would like to do if time allowed. The negotiable and the non-negotiable use of time come from our priorities and values. Once we determine the important things in our lives, the task of allocating time is straightforward, as the next point will detail. Number 3, determine our life and leadership priorities. Our next step in managing our time is to determine our life's priorities. We derive these from Scripture, our current context and stage of life, along with what we know to be God's will. The following are some suggestions of priorities for our life and leadership. Personal priorities as a Christian. To live a godly life that glorifies God. To become more and more like Jesus. To spend devotional time with God each day. To cultivate a happy, fulfilled marriage. To raise godly children, provide for them, and have quality time and relationship with them. To fulfill our calling and exercise our gifts. To be a witness by sharing our faith through personal evangelism and exemplary living. Public priorities as a Christian leader, minister. Time leading people into God's purposes of mission and maturity. Time fulfilling the specific vision God has placed in our heart. Time loving, feeding and building the people under our oversight. Time developing leaders and equipping people for ministry. Time invested in our personal development. Personal priorities as human beings. Maintaining personal health and well-being. Fostering healthy friendships and relationships. Pursuing and practicing leisure activities. Balancing life, work and leadership. Stewarding our finances and resources. Our allocation of time is a response to our priorities. We can always find time to do the things we really want to do. Once we've settled on what is really important, we need to apportion our time accordingly, and we'll come to some practicalities shortly. Number 4, plan our time. Having surrendered our time to the Lordship of Jesus and God's purpose for our lives, and basing our allocation of time on the principles of budgeting and determining the priorities of our lives, what is really important to us, we now come to the practical outworking, which is the planning of our time. As we live according to a plan and not haphazardly or by whim, we are taking control of our time. And here are some practical suggestions. Yearly. Keep a yearly calendar with important events, appointments and deadlines. Identify key marriage and family celebrations and milestones such as birthdays, anniversaries and holidays, and put them into your calendar before anything else. Schedule regular time to think and plan. Keep a master list of tasks to be done throughout the year, organized by date and priority, and keep the list updated as tasks are achieved. Monthly. Identify the top priorities, both personal and ministry, for the month. For example, family days or your personal development. Estimate how long each one will take to complete. Determine the time you have available to do your important tasks, and then blocks of time in your calendar to achieve these priorities. Organize and schedule your work, and use the last day of each month to plan and lay out the priorities for the next month. Weekly. Have a written weekly schedule and daily agenda. Plan marriage or family activities into your schedule. Plan your weekly schedule based on the rhythms and cycles of your life and leadership. Daily. Have a written plan for each day. Be diligent in adhering to your plan for the day. Maximize the first 2 hours of the day work on your important tasks first, schedule important work in your most productive hours, plan tomorrow's work today by organising the next day at the end of the current day. And in this way, you'll know what to work on when you arrive. I heard leadership author and speaker John Maxwell say, "If you fail to plan, you plan to fail." He also stated that tomorrow's actions determine tomorrow's achievements. So, in summary of this first session, we've seen that Scripture requires us to use our time wisely and discerningly. We noted Alex Mackenzie's point that we cannot manage time as such, but ourselves in relation to time. We define time management as managing ourselves within the time frame granted to us by God toward biblical priorities, values, and God-given purposes. And then we ask the question, how do we manage ourselves to maximize our use of time? And we looked at an initial 4 principles. Number 1, surrender our time to the Lordship of Jesus. Number 2, budget our time as we do our finances. Number 3, determine our life and leadership priorities. And number 4, plan our time. In the next session, we'll continue looking at some further principles for how to manage ourselves in relation to time.